presentation. Okay, I'll be talking about this using this headline about this points. Okay, before I go to the meat of the matter, I'd like to state here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
I'll start with this quote by Dr. Heyman. States that food isn't like medicine; it is medicine, and our number one tool for creating the vibrant health we all deserve. Okay, so we jump in, and I would like to just define some terms so we'll have a background about what I'm talking about today and basically what all this is about. We all know that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And our lifestyle is the way that we live our lives, the activities we involve in, including what we eat, how we spend our time, our relationships, and anything that we do that ensures that we stay in health. We call it a healthy lifestyle. And so today's meeting is shining light on eating clean. And so eating clean focuses on eating fresh, whole foods. Okay, for this meeting, I'd like us to see this. When you hear the word someone is eating clean, we are talking about eating foods that are very close to their natural states. So when you see the meal, you can identify that yes, this is cabbage, this is carrot, this is rice, this is yam. It looks like vegetables, not processed. And so it involves eating more fruits and vegetables, limiting processed foods, no added sugars, limiting alcohol, substituting starchy carbs with vegetables, and no chemically processed oils. Okay, and then why fruits and vegetables? You've heard, I'm sure I'm not the first person talking about this, but the reason for the emphasis is because fruit and vegetables are a major source of vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. You ask me, why do I need antioxidants in my diet? Many of the chemical processes that go on in our bodies that we're not aware of, during those processes, free radicals are produced, and sometimes because of the things we eat, we have these free radicals in our system, and antioxidants help mop them up. Okay, so and fruit and vegetables are therefore so vital to ensuring that we stay healthy. Okay, so most fruits and vegetables are naturally low in calories, and even though singular food, all the nutrients we combining and each of them will help meet our daily needs. Okay, all right. So a diet rich in fruit and vegetables will reduce the risk of chronic diseases. The surge, even in Nigeria, in the number of cases of chronic diseases. I practice as a medical officer in a community hospital, and I would say the burden of hypertension and diabetes is so high that and this the community where I serve, most patients are low income earners, not low to medium income earners. So you think you wouldn't expect that this will be high in them. So we're so burdened with this, and I believe that if we start considering what we eat and start seeing our foods as so important, many people will not at when it's maybe get to 40 start dealing with this. And the reason we need to start now is because we are seeing patients age 20, less than 20, dealing with hypertension and diabetes, and they are rising. So our diet plays a major part in ensuring that we are protected from these illnesses. Okay, so before we continue, I'd like to talk about macronutrients and how to combine them. And it's so so important because most plates, I would say in the Nigerian diet, what's really missing in the Nigerian diet is vegetable part. We eat carbs, okay, vegetables and proteins. Okay, we eat our carbs, we eat our fats, but the cost of protein is quite high, and because we don't see them as so important, we just want to be full. Don't pay attention to ensure that they are part of our plate. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, you see that the major macronutrients here are carbohydrates, protein, and fats. And if I ask anyone on this call, you find out that we all have an idea about what these are. But tonight I would like to my desire is that there be a mind shift and we begin to see fruits and vegetables as adequate sources of carbohydrates, not just our bread, our pasta, our rice, potatoes, but seeing that if I have a plate that has vegetables, the carbs I have is good enough, is sufficient. I just need to add some protein, some oils to make sure that I am full. Okay, so we'll go on to the next slide. And this is the mind, I was talking about the mind shift. I hope that this meeting will give is that we start to see fruits and vegetables as healthy sources of carbohydrates. Okay, so and we start to include more whole grains in our diets. And why whole grains? You find out that whole grains have their bran, their endosperm, and germ. These are just parts of the grains intact. So the outside coat, the bran, has your fiber. You in the endosperm, you find most of the carbs in it, and then in the germ part, you find a lot of minerals in it. So you need your grains to be whole, and that's why we prefer people to eat whole grain oats, brown rice, if you can tolerate the taste. God has blessed Nigeria with sorghum, millet, and bulgur is just something new to us in our environment. Quinoa is also. For those that live in the north or have been in the north before will be aware, and I think the Igbos too are aware of acha and funi, which are excellent whole grains. Okay, so whole grains deliver a variety of important nutrients, including vitamins, minerals, proteins, fiber, and other healthy plant compounds. Okay, and I'll just also remind us again to look to consider our tubers again. Cocoyam is an excellent one, and sweet potatoes. We have yam. We are blessed with abundant food. It's just knowing how to combine it, which we'll talk about later. Okay, and then trying to avoid refined carbs, added sugars, carbonated drinks, sugary drinks. Yes, you one thing people would say is, I'm in traffic, what do you want me to eat? And the only thing I can see is cold Coke or Fanta being sold. What my response to that is, if you prepare ahead, we all know that we eat every day. If you prepare ahead and carry that to your fruit salad or your smoothie or the food that you have made ahead, you would not be stuck in traffic, being hungry and having nothing to eat but carbonated drinks. And sometimes we find fruits being sold in traffic, but the issue is usually washing them. And then you have things like granules being sold. So you always remember that what I put in my mouth should be close to what it looks in nature, and not something. If you take a bottle of carbonated drink, you can't say what is inside. You cannot. There are basically a lot of chemicals. You can't say it's one of the sources where one of the main ingredients is maybe you can't give it you can't say the contents, okay, except when you read and you notice that all the things on the label you don't even know. Okay, so we'll go to the other thing I would like us to see about proteins is that not just people who are trying to lose weight or need to build their body mass need to eat the adequate amount of protein. An average adult needs about 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight per day. Okay, so you factor that into calculating your protein need per day. And proteins are so important. You need them to build and repair tissues, and they are the basic building blocks for our organs, even air, bones, enzymes that regulate certain chemical processes in our bodies. Plants and animal sources. I like another shift, a mind shift I would like us to look at today. There are many other sources of proteins apart from our regular milk or beef, chicken, fish, which are the major ones we are used to here. But the other ones, they are plant sources. You can get your proteins from nuts, from legumes, from beans. Even, for example, even though beans has more carbohydrate than protein, but it's still a source of protein. So and one thing we need to look away from is look away from refined proteins like sausages, bacon, hot dog. And the reason is that they don't in making that sausage, a lot of salt is put in, a lot of fat is put in to give you that delicious taste. Okay, and so these are the things that we're trying to run away from. And studies have shown that proteins actually help in making you full. So if you are looking at it, someone who wants to lose weight and is looking at taking a lot of veggies, to ensure that you have that satiety, it's important to consider adding proteins and fats to your diet. Okay, so I'm going to talk about fats later because it's so important. It's been looked at as a bad guy in our diet, but knowing how to properly place that. Okay, so proteins do not. Another thing I'd like to say is that proteins don't cause kidney disease, but should be reduced as but don't cause kidney disease. But those who have existing kidney disease usually are placed on low protein diet. So if you don't have any issues with your kidneys, there's no reason why you shouldn't eat the adequate protein you should have per day. Okay, so to oils, fats and oils, we need them because they are actually essential fatty acids that our body doesn't produce, okay, that we need to eat, that we need to take in via our mouth. And the reason they're important is because they're involved in certain processes. Omega-3 is excellent in preventing inflammation. You need them in wound healing. You need them in blood clotting. And I'm sure you would have heard of fat-soluble, fat-soluble vitamins. These vitamins are carried by fat. So your vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are so important. K is so important for blood clotting. If there's a deficiency, the person may have difficulty forming blood clots after an injury. So we can't rule out fats from our diet, but we just need to choose the healthier options. And then I'm sure we've all heard about the monosaturated, polysaturated, and saturated fats. And then the difference is how the fatty acids are packed. Okay, and what I'd like us to take away from here is that to eat less saturated fats. What are the examples we have around us? Palm oil, coconut oil, the polyunsaturated, you find them in olive oil, you find them in peanut oil, you find them in avocados. While the mono, you find them in seeds. A lot of nuts have that. Okay, and so we'll go to combining our plates later, but let's just have a mindset that there are also plant sources of fats. So if you look at seeds like flaxseed, chia seeds, they contain fats and they contain omega-3 fats. But the problem with the omega 3 that they offer is that our bodies are not able to utilize most of it, but it utilizes some of it. So yes, we cannot rule them out as a source of omega 3, but you just know that if I buy flaxseed, if it says give me a particular percentage, my body will take much less of that. So I want us to also consider plant sources of fats and oils. Okay, so how to portion macronutrients. In a way we understand, I'd like us to go to this chart. Okay, so we'll go to the one on this side, on my top right corner, and you see a healthy diet. You see where carbohydrates is the one in red, proteins here 30%, the one in yellow, and fats, the one in blue. Remember the mind shift that I was talking about. The beautiful thing here is when we say carbs, we need to now start looking inwards and looking at vegetables and fruits. So yes, you can fill your plate here with 50% vegetables and fruits, or half it with vegetables and fruit, and the other half with your regular whole grains, your tubers, your legumes, and then yes, here we fill up 30% with our proteins, okay, and then 20% with our fats. Okay, let me give an example. An 100 grams of cabbage will give you about 6 grams of carbs, while 100 grams of rice will give you about 28 grams of carbs. So 28 to 29. I'm not that's a rough estimate. So, and we know that one gram of carbs gives you about 4 calories. And then so if I take 100 grams of cabbage, I'm getting so little carbs. And if I take 100 grams of rice, I'm taking so much carbs. And I'll probably be if I'll probably if I get to eat it often and add some protein and fats to it, I probably will be more full when I eat that compared to just eating the rice only. And this is because fats and proteins have a way of increasing our satiety, making us fuller and fuller even for a longer time. Okay, so this is a picture of the thing what I was just trying to explain. Seeing half the plate with vegetables. You see here, however, that in most these whole grains, I'd rather move them up here, okay, where the vegetables are. Okay, so I wanted to bring something we are familiar with. You look at the So Fresh food pack, sorry, salad pack, and you see here, if you can see that, and I like the way they arranged it. See the avocados here containing a lot of healthy fats with your cashew nuts here, and then you see your vegetables, them taking a large chunk of it. And then if you look at it here, you see that there's a lot of there's protein. I've had this pack. No, not this exact pack. I've had a pack that didn't have avocados, but the chicken is not all the way down to the end of the pack. So I'll have you correct me if I'm right or wrong, but the chicken here is just like half of the container. So you have adequate amount of protein being served, enough fat. With this, you don't need any cream. I know they always give us added cream, but last I didn't have to add any cream. It was sweet enough. That's for me. And then here, this is my own plate, okay. Before I got better with taking pictures, but look at this. This is just two pieces. This plate here, this white plate on the right side is actually a very small plate. So the pancake you're seeing made from oats is not as big as it appears. And so here you have some vegetables from cucumbers and tomatoes, just two strawberries, and enough fat for me here with avocados and extra protein here. So remember, if you look at this plate on the right, you find out that almost about half of my plate is filled with my vegetables, and it's in line with, I'm going to go back with this plate over here. So you can also have this as a way to portion your food. Okay, so yes, more pictures to help us see what I'm trying to say. Okay, the one on your right top, your right, okay, the protein is mixed with veggies, and you have just some carbs up there. And then these are Nigerian foods. I wanted to use pictures of Nigerian foods that we are aware of, and okay, so this is another. I have another so fresh bowl. Like this is what I had when I tried it out. So you see here that, and when I finished this bowl of salad, I was full till evening. I had it with a bottle of smoothie. Okay, so you see this plate now. You have your protein in the right portion, and they used uh, chicken or already skinned, so you're not worried about any unwanted fat. And then you have your vegetables in excess supply, in just adequate. And then if you see my plate on the on the other side, of the right side, it's just vegetables and nuts. If you look at this nut supplies me was about 28 grams of of cashew nuts. I have my proteins, and I have my fats in there, and I'm fine. This is like a like you've had lunch, and you're now having you're hungry before dinner. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. All right.
Can.
Okay, thank you. All right, so just get that feedback. And then we're going on. Sorry. Okay, so what to use when prepping our foods. Okay, we've talked about, I think I have stressed a bit about eating clean, and that's ensuring you eat foods that you can recognize. And most importantly, you have to be willing to cook yourself. Okay, and then on those special days when you can't do it all by yourself, you can always order. And I thank God for stores like So Fresh that provides something healthy. You can have a bowl of something healthy through and through, and you're not worried about what you're eating. Okay, so let's make a shift from processed foods. Okay, the burden is already there. So many people are dealing with chronic diseases, hypertension, diabetes, and we find out that there are studies that have linked our state of health with the things that we put in our mouth. So it's a wake-up call, and I'm very thankful for this presentation, that when I'm so hungry and I need to get something to eat ASAP, I should rather go for an apple or two apples than a bottle of carbonated drink. So we need to have that shift. What that carbonated drink will give you is just some sugar rush and some further addiction, and you'll be shocked that people can actually get addicted to sugar. So you hear things like, I must take my Coke, I must take my drink, I have to have one a day. I have to. It may not be cocaine, but the damages is doing. So you don't want people living with chronic illnesses for the rest of their lives. So if you are not, especially if you have a family history, what I mean is maybe if one of the parents, like someone is born and he is born to a family where the father or mother um have had cancer, has had hypertension, diabetes. Yeah, to be more careful. We can't choose where we are born, but we can choose how we turn out, and our foods play a huge role in how our bodies um and whether we stay healthy or not. Okay, so concerning the products you use, one thing we must take advantage of is spices. We're blessed with many spices. If you go to the Malam's part in mile 12, you see spices that you wouldn't know that we have in Nigeria. Okay, so so I just listed a few. Turmeric, having cumin, a very potent antioxidant. You know, I talked earlier about why we need antioxidants, and then things like that. So we find around us ginger, which has anti-inflammatory properties. I don't know if you've seen fenugreek before, but it's so good in helping to improve the function of insulin. Insulin is one of insulin is produced by the pancreas, and is the body does that, uses it to regulate the level of our blood sugar. So if you have things that improve the state way it functions then and you have them naturally, you should add them to your food. One wonder drink that we have around us is the hibiscus drink, zobo. The beautiful, it has so many benefits. From it's been shown, excuse me, the effect on blood pressure is great. And here, one thing to note: if you are on blood pressure lowering drugs, please do not stop your medications to go to these fruits and these drinks I'm talking about. Instead, you add them to your medication, you add them to your usual diet, and then if when your doctor begins to see certain reductions in your blood pressure, they would adjust your drugs to help with that. Okay, so yes, however, one thing we do is take the benefit out of zobo by adding a lot of added sugar. If you can tolerate zobo with just being sweetened with fruits, please, it's healthier than adding your added sugar and taking away the benefit that it has. Okay, so let's make our drinks from fruits, from nuts, and from plants generally, so we can still have that sweet drink that we all hope to have. Okay. Okay, sorry. So one of the reasons people give as not to eat, of not eating choosing healthier options, clean options, is that it's time consuming. I get back from work, I'm so tired, I have to start cutting vegetables and all. But you can prep meals ahead. Like you can have a day of your week, maybe probably a weekend, when you have fewer things to do. You can ditch that owambe and just say, I'm taking care of myself. I'm getting the things I need for the week to ensure that I eat healthy. So we must one of the reasons prepping meals ahead would help. One of the things it will help us with, in for especially people that live in Lagos, is that it will ensure that we eat healthy even with our busy schedules. Okay, so with that, drop a timetable so you know what you want to eat for the week. You buy the things that you need, buy your vegetables for the week. Okay, so for some people, I also say that buy the vegetables you need for the week and ensure that you finish everything before the end of the week. Okay, or the end of 2 weeks. But if you are doing 2 weeks, make sure you buy something that is double for that week's supply. Okay, then you pick a day that you prep your veggies if you have to. If you we all don't have to. You can it's important to store your salads in glass. So if you get okay, the other thing is you don't store salads that the cream has been added onto it already. You don't store salads that have their protein in it. You know, I showed us some so fresh if you have up later, you make such requests so that they don't add your protein to it, because to you need to warm up proteins to eat them the next day. And so you get kitchen equipment that make slicing vegetables easier. And then, for example, if you want to eat pancakes, you can mix the dry ingredients in a jar, and just when you're ready in the morning, just take some and mix. Always carry the food that always make plans for not just the food you eat that morning, but that which you eat in the afternoon or before you get home. Okay, so that you're not stuck with unhealthy options. And if you must get that food, make plans for it. Order days ahead, order ahead. Ensure that you take care of your body. And so you see, this slide is just showing how you can cut out your fruits in Ziploc bags and then freeze them, and then morning just sweep them off. If you notice the ones on my right here, then there are no protein sources here. So if you want it to be a full meal, just ensure that you have your nuts added, and you have your protein with it. So you have a filling breakfast of just fruits, nuts, and then maybe chicken or eggs. Okay. All right. So that's still on the other side. My final thoughts that what we eat matters, and the time to make make changes is now. And I'll like to say that So Fresh Nigeria are really doing a lot to ensure that we eat healthy as a nation. And so for that, I want to say thank you for having me here, and also for making this challenge. Because I know there are about more than 1,000 people on the group, and knowing that, especially when you change a woman's idea of things, you have changed. If you can get the woman of the home to make that shift, you are sure that every other person in that home will eat better. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. I apologize again for the issues I had earlier. Came in, I just apologize. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and I'll take questions now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Omolala. Thank you so much for that enlightening session. So we have one question in the chat box, and the person says, "Is groundnut oil healthy? What type of fat is it?" So I think we'll take that question now, and then we'll wait for two more questions if we have any, and then we'll round up for the night.
Okay, groundnut oil is peanut oil, if I'm right. You know, there are different types. If you are sure that it's gotten from groundnuts, it will taste like groundnuts. It won't they won't have removed certain things from it. It is healthy. Okay, if you remember, I mentioned that sources of unsaturated fat, so it is healthy. I just use them in the right quantity. It is healthy. Yeah, I think I've answered.
Yes, so I'm just going through the chat box again. So someone else says, "What is your recommendation regarding the usage of olive oil to cook and the complete elimination of salt from diet?" That's one question. Then another person asked, "What are the two types of groundnut oil?" So I think we'll just take the olive oil question. What is your recommendation regarding the usage of olive oil to cook and the complete elimination of salt from diet?
Olive oils are great as dressing, and this is why. For I'll talk about this for oils generally. When to choose oil that you use to cook, that oil, there's something they call smoke point. When I heat up the oil, and then for the oil that gives us the best example is palm oil. If you notice, if I pour palm oil into a pot, I pour something in it immediately, it starts to smoke. And then at that point, that's what people say they are trying to bleach palm oil. Okay, bleaching
Yeah.
is not. We shouldn't even try. We shouldn't hurt ourselves with that. Okay, so my point is um oils have smoke points, so you must know that about your oil. Because olive oils contain a lot of polyunsaturated fats. Eating it up, when you eat up oil that contains a lot of polyunsaturated oils, you find out that trans fats will be produced, and that's one thing we try to avoid.
Oh, so your audio is disconnected. I
I'm
can't
so
hear.
sorry. Can you
Okay,
hear
yeah,
me
you're
now?
back. Yes, you're
You
back.
can hear me? Okay. So I was saying that one of the reasons we say that people should not take baked foods, fried foods, is because the frying process leads to formation of things we call a particular kind of fat we call trans fat. So yes, you can cook with your it's better. The best way to use your olive oils is to sprinkle on your food, use them as dressings. But if you must cook, it should be on low heat. And I think the other question, which is she and I gave the reason, when an oil contains a lot of polyunsaturated fats, heating them up to a certain temperature would lead to you start to form free radicals. One, two, eating them up would lead to easy break of the bonds of those polyunsaturated fats, and then you start having trans fats being formed, which will now be unhealthy. So um yes, I think I've answered that. Concerning the salt, we need salt. Salt contains sodium, chloride. These are important in the way our cells function. Okay, so we cannot rule out salt. However, we are told to reduce the amount of salt we eat. So an average adult, the total you shouldn't consume more than two-thirds of a spoon in a day. And what I mean by that is cooked one, what I add to my food. And it's not to scare people that is so little. Because, for example, if I'm cooking for my whole family, for example, if I have a family of 10 and I sweeten the food with a tablespoon of salt, you know that it's not just me that's eating that meal. 10 other people, 9 other people are eating with me. So you can calculate the amount that will be getting to you. So we need salt. We need salt in the right proportion. Sodium is very important in certain cell functions in our body. So we cannot say no salt. We just say low salt. Okay, the other question you mentioned, can you please help remind me about of that?
So the person asks, what are the two types of groundnut oil?
Oh, okay. Usually I said the types of granite oil. Okay, sorry. Two types of groundnut oil. I don't know the two types of groundnut oil. What I can, or maybe what the person is saying is minimally processed and unprocessed groundnut oils. Okay. Um, from the if okay, in Nigeria, when we say groundnut oil, we mean vegetable oil. So I don't know whether that is what the person is
Yeah,
saying. Okay, so
yeah,
if that's what the person is saying, but let me first answer it from the place where the person means groundnut being peanut oil. Okay, and I think I answered that earlier that peanut oil
yes, you did.
it's a good source. It's a good oil. We can use it. It's minimally processed. It's usually made by just trying to squeeze out the oil from the groundnut. That's peanut. But what Nigerians usually call groundnut oil is what we call what vegetable oils are. Okay, so there are majorly two ways that granule oils are made. Okay, so it's either and one thing that is common with all of them is that they are gotten from vegetables. Okay, but however, two major ways. Vegetables, their seeds are either chemically produced, or not chemically produced. Like for example, when you get your cold pressed coconut oil or your extra virgin olive oil, those are not chemically produced. It's just they just try to basically what they do is trying to extract that oil from that nut or that seed naturally. But the other type,
Like,
which is chemical one, is, for example, most palm oils sold in Nigerian market are from palm. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Most vegetable oils sold in Nigerian market are from palm oil. So if you look at it, they write something about having palm oil. Okay, so they would have, you will not recognize that it is actually from palm oil. So I'd like to say something. When you carry a bottle of vegetable oil and then you look at the content and they say it is heart healthy, heart friendly, that it contains a lot of omega-6, we must be wary of such oils, because yes, omega what you should be looking for is the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Oils that contain high omega-3 are better for the heart. Oils that contain higher omega-3 do not promote their anti-inflammatory. Okay, what I mean is is either it promotes inflammation or does not promote inflammation. When it doesn't promote inflammation, you see anti-inflammatory. If you slap me now, for example, you look at my face, it becomes reddish, hot. My body has decided to respond through an inflammatory process because of that injury. Okay, so imagine there's that going on inside, eating something that is causing injury into to the walls of our vessels, our cells, because of what they contain. So what you're looking for are oils that have higher omega-3 compared to omega-6. So that even if it contains omega-6, that the omega-3 would counter the omega-6 effect. I don't know if that answers that question. So the two main types will be of vegetable oils will be those that are naturally made and those that are chemically produced.
okay, so we have, thank you very much for that. So we have two more questions, and I think we'll take those questions because they are very interesting questions, and we'll wrap it up for tonight. So this question says, so okay, there's a question about, is palm oil bleaching bad for health? So I think Omolola has addressed that earlier where she said it's better we avoid it. Then the next question is, what is your advice on the consumption of smoked fish? Do you think it is healthy?
First, let me say that the Nigerian diet, the way we cook our soups, we use smoked fish. But anything that chars your food, anything that burns your food, if you isn't good isn't good to eat. Do you understand? If the smoking is such that, especially when it's done exposed air, when it chars your food, if you notice that most smoked foods have this burnt part on the outside to give it that flavor. So whenever it chars your food, you should not eat them. So if you have to use them, please use them in the moderate amounts, knowing that most Nigerians, it's part of our food. It's part of our diet. But why not boil it? Why not fry it? Why not eat it in that way? Rather bake it, but don't bake to the point of charring, you're burning the food. Once you start burning it, you lose the benefit of the food, and then I'm not sure. So I would let me just stop there. You lose that benefit.
Yeah. So the final question is talking about overnight oats. So this person says there is a lot of rave on taking overnight oats over cooked oats. Is it actually a healthier option? What are the benefits of cooking over the stove? What are
Okay,
the
so
benefits over cooking over the stove?
one of the benefits of cooking is you sterilize the food, or you make it free from germs. Okay, that's one of the benefits of cooking of any food. For oats, oats can be eaten raw but must be soaked in fluid or liquid. Okay, so it's okay, it's good, you get the benefits of the oats by soaking it. You're not to eat oats raw. You have to ensure that it's soaked. And so it's, if you would make it in a way that is safe, it's not going to be contaminated, then please you can eat your oats. And if you would like the taste of cold oats, please go ahead. And it just reminds me of one of the beautiful thing about your store or stores is that you can eat a plate of salad and not be afraid of going to the toilet afterwards. That's one thing I must give you kudos for making. For example, if I go to an event, I'd rather not eat something that is not cooked, something not piping hot. So if you where you can get your vegetables healthy, whole, and you're not afraid of having diarrhea afterwards, we must give you kudos for that. So yes, your oats, you can eat them either raw or cooked, but if you're having them raw, please make sure that it is soaked. And if you're having them um, cooked, much better, because you know that you're not going to have some germs in your tummy. But if you must have it raw, soaked, please make sure you do it in a very clean manner.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Umarola. Thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for the very enlightening session. I'm sure that a lot of us would have more questions. We still have like over 1,700 people on the Telegram group. We're going to share this link with them and they will have more questions for you. Thank you so much for joining.